I would like to say thank you to every person who has downloaded the book, every person who has left me a comment, left me a review. I am so, so, so grateful for your comments, for your reviews, for your support in general. It means the world to me. I was extremely scared of putting out this book because I've never written anything like this before. So I decided to put it out as quickly as possible before I talked myself out of it, bad habits. But yeah, and I'm so grateful for all the support that I have received concerning the book. I'm so grateful that it is something that a lot of people are able to relate with. It's something that a lot of people are able to just appreciate. It means so, so much to me. So I decided to do a video to sort of explain the story, explain why the story, why the ending. For those who have read it, you know what I mean. But yeah, why the ending? So I'll start with Makita, right? Obviously. So I think Makita is relatable to a lot of people in different aspects. You know, there's abuse as a child, there's growing up in an abusive or traumatizing home environment, there's having to live without your parents for some reason, whatever reason it may be. It's just being in relationships and seeing how that works out, and you know, just so many different things. And I believe the whole idea with Makita's life is to just help people understand that trauma is always deeper than we think. It's always goes back to our childhood. It always goes back to some experience that happened that sort of shaped us in a way, but we may not have understood it then. We may not have fully known what it meant then. But then eventually you realize that you behave a certain way, you think a certain way, you act a certain way, simply because of something that happened that you don't seem to understand, but it shaped you in a way. And that is where we find. So Makita has a really traumatizing experience as a kid, and she doesn't ever speak about it. She doesn't really understand what it was, but she just takes it as this thing has happened, and it remains at the back of her mind for a very long time until she has this conversation with her mother, and everything is brought to light, and she sort of adds up the pieces and says, "That's what happened," you know. And so it's as though she is now broken because she realizes that something that she knew wasn't right in the first place or didn't feel right, but now you realize like it's full blown, it damaged my life, it robbed me of, you know, something that was just my own. Like, it was supposed to be an experience that I was supposed to treasure, an experience that was supposed to be special to me, but somebody decided to take that away from me. And now what do I do? You know, it's like all these years you couldn't figure it out, and now you finally figure it out, and you're like, now what do I do? So here's Makita, and she doesn't know what to do, which I think many of us can relate to. Like, when you find out something had happened to you so long ago, and you're just there like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, you feel like, okay, maybe it's too late for me to react, or, you know, I don't know. Like, what am I just supposed to do with this thing? Like, it has happened now. So she chooses to go silent. She chooses to not speak about it. But she realizes that it has broken her, and it has broken so much of her, because she's like, if I open up and if I tell somebody about this, how are they going to respond to it? How are they going to react to it? So let me just keep quiet. I guess she thought that her not saying anything in a way meant she wasn't affected by it. I guess she thought her being silent meant that because it happened so long ago, it's not going to affect any part of my life, right? So that's how she's thinking. And then eventually, you know, the thing about trauma, especially trauma at an early age, is that when you actually realize what you experienced, it sort of takes you to this place where it creates some sort of void or emptiness within you. Like you are consistently trying to fill it because you feel like if I do this or if I do that or if I do that, then it's going to cover up or automatically fix or repair what emptiness I'm feeling. When in reality, the only way that you actually get free from trauma is if you actually speak about it and you actually get help for it. Trauma is not like it's not like what example can I give? It's not like a wound that you physically see and like you put medication on it or you sort of just watch it dry out eventually and then it's healed. Trauma is like it's internal, there's no wound to show it. There's no actual wound. There's just pain. So how do you actually get the pain out when you can't point where exactly it hurts? You can't. The only thing that you can do is open your mouth and speak and be like, this hurts and I need this pain to go away. So you talk about it and get help for it until you feel like you have healed from it. There's no way to heal trauma without actually speaking about it, without actually opening up about it. Because it's so easy to feel or to think that you are okay because it's between you and your mind. So if you convince your mind that you are okay, you're going to think you're okay and you're going to act like you're okay, but eventually someone is going to come into your space, someone is going to come into your life, or something is going to happen and it's going to force you to realize that you actually convinced yourself you were okay when you were not. That's just how trauma works. At least from many experiences I've got to hear about. So Makita, she's experiencing it, she's going through it, like many of us. Like, life is life can mess you up. Life can really mess you up and you really go through it. I don't think there's any person who's without trauma, who's without scars, who's without, something that happened that sort of changed them in a way. I don't believe that. And I think that's why it's so important to be kind to everyone. And that's something that you can see from Makita's life. Like, in as much as she had these wounds and this void and every single thing that she was going through, she still made it a point to be there for others. She made it a point to help as many people as she could. She made it a point to help her parents and help out her friends, even though, in a way, she ended up being abused by her father, who was consistently just asking her for this and asking her for that and asking her for this. And she didn't see it as a burden because she felt like she was responsible for making sure that everybody else's life was okay because she felt like her own life was messed up. So she chose to remain kind despite every single thing that she had gone through, every single thing that she had experienced. In as much as she was angry, especially towards Ben, she didn't let that affect how she felt about other people and how much she valued the other relationships that were around her. And I think that's a strength I've noticed in many people who've experienced trauma and people who've experienced pain. They are so kind. They tend to be so kind. Really, if you get to know them and you hear what they have been through, you'd be amazed. Because I think it's only someone who's experienced pain to a certain extent who will learn that you couldn't possibly wish someone else bad. You couldn't wish hurt and pain on somebody else. You wouldn't want to be the one who inflicts them with that pain and that hurt because you know how damaging it can be. You know how much it can hurt you and it can break you. And I think Makita sort of took that, but in a way she took it to the extreme. And in the end, she had nothing more to give. She gave everything that she could give